Welcome to the Wellness Growth Show, where we dive into the strategies, systems, and stories behind building scalable wellness businesses. I'm your host, Scott Schumann, growth partner to wellness and health tech founders who are moving beyond one-to-one delivery and into organizations, employers, and institutions. Each week, I sit down with the people actually doing the work, founders and operators growing mission-driven platforms that create real impact and sustainable revenue. Whether you're pivoting from B2C, landing your first corporate wellness contract, or scaling into institutional partnerships, this show is here to meet you where you are, with honest insights, tactical conversations, and zero fluff. Let's get into it. Today, we're sitting down with Orit Huntley, founder and director of Meadowside Osteopathy in the UK, who will share her experience. Orit, can you share your inspiring journey from being a self-employed osteopath to establishing your own successful clinic?
Yes, hello. Hi, Scott. Gosh, where do I start? So I've been an osteopath. I started sort of working for other people and then working for myself for the first few years. And then, well, I guess it got a bit lonely. The first was the first thing I noticed, because in a lot of clinics, you're on your own, and even if there are others, then you're sort of ships in the night. So you might come in and do your shift, and somebody else comes in and does theirs, and you don't really get to have any collaboration and a workplace where you could discuss and grow together. So that was the first thing I was sort of missing. And so when the opportunity came to take on somebody else, I started with an associate, which was a sort of a part-time agreement where they were just with me a day or two a week, and that worked to an extent. But I think over time, as I learned a lot, and as I sort of tried to work out what works and what doesn't, really having a team and having people full-time with me was a way forward, and was a way to grow the business as well as to grow the people around me, because everyone was going to be fully committed. So it took a bit of time, but we're at a place where we've got a really nice team, and because they are full-time and employed by the business, they really are with us, and they're rooting for us, rooting for the business. So it's really changed. And actually, one of the things I had to do in order to make the team busier is to step away and actually see less patients myself, and look after the business and look after the team and look after the bigger picture, rather than just the one patient that's, on the bench in front of me. So that was a bit of a shift in mindset that took a while.
Okay. What do you think were some of the key challenges that you encountered or experienced along the way, and especially seeing that, okay, I need to sort of create another position, or I do see that I need to move myself out, and so that you can manage and run the business where you're not day to day, like all you do is see patients. Like there's a business piece of this too.
Yeah, so you've got to be able to sort of step away for long enough and far enough to be able to look ahead, or sort of climb the tree and have that vision of, okay, this is what we've got now, but perhaps we can create something bigger and better down the line. Gosh, quite a few challenges. I think getting the right people is always going to be the challenge of a business owner, isn't it? Recruiting, whether you've got whether you're employing 2 people or 2,000, it's getting those people who share your vision. And we've definitely had team members along the years who were less, and team members who were more on board with what we're trying to do. So I think actually, the pandemic was interesting. COVID was interesting because we were forced to take a break. And obviously, alongside a lot of horrible things that connected to the pandemic, actually, it was also an opportunity, wasn't it, to kind of just stop and go, well, what do I want to create without the pressure of keeping it going? So you could just take that time and design what you want. So that gave me an opportunity to really think, and I've had the help of a coach and just the kind of headspace to stop and go, what do I want it to look like in 4 or 5 years time, and then create something that people can get on board with, and share that. So I've gone back and went, okay, well, what are my values? What do I want people to join me for? Where is this journey going? So that if you were to look at my business, and it has to be communicated, it's one thing if it's in my head or on a piece of paper, but it has to be out there for people to see, so that if I'm saying I need an osteopath to work with me, this is what I'm all about and that's what I can do, people would go, I want to be part of that. And then before they even called me, I know that they're the right person. And they know that they fit the vision. So I've just kind of jotted down the 5 values that I've come up with. And actually, I've created those before my current team joined me, but we
Okay,
keep
great.
checking back in, and we keep making sure that everybody's still, feeling
Aligned or
it.
yeah.
And they seem to have stood the test of time, which is nice. So what are
Oh,
we,
wow.
so
Yeah.
5 years on? So we've got connection, which sounds really basic, but it's just, it's connecting with each other, but it's connecting obviously with the patient, the client that walks through the door, and with everybody that comes in contact and in touch with our business. We have to be able to connect with them on some kind of human level. We're if you're in the business of wellness and health and people, it's all about the relationship and it's all about the connection. So that's kind of number one. Number two was collaboration. So, and that's working with each other, working with perhaps therapists and practitioners outside of our remit, and to the benefit of our clients, our patients, but also maybe more importantly, collaborating with our patients, because, when they come in, we don't just go, well, there's a pill and please come back in a year's time. They have to collaborate with us and we have to collaborate with them to get the most out of the process of getting them to a better place in terms of their health and their well-being. They has to be a collaborative process. So, and the team are on board with that. Obviously, that's just how we treat our patients. That's how we work. So that's number two. So that's connection and collaboration. We've got excellence there. So that's just always thriving to be better and to be the best and to have the best expertise and the best equipment, if you like. We're just
Right tools and whatnot.
the best, yes, and the best people, and really to show up and kind of give the best. And when people join an organization, they want to be able to bring their best and to have their best almost like brought out of them, to help them be their best. And that's, I think, is really powerful for the team, as well as really important for a business to thrive. We're just kind of comparing machines for treatment. So we're looking at shockwave therapy, which is a treatment modality, and we're sort of comparing two, and one is a bit more expensive, but it's better. And we were like, well, what aligns with the values? We've got to do that. So we're working together, and okay, well, if we are going for the best, we've got to stand behind it and deliver it and make sure that it was worthwhile doing. So, it's a really important strand of any business, I think, of anybody, of whatever you do in terms of, excellence, is that kind of aspiration to be the best you can. And number 4 is empowerment. And again, that's for the team and for patients. So it's giving people the agency. I think it goes hand in hand with collaborations really strongly, but empowering people to be their best and to achieve their best version of themselves, if that's health wise or career wise, depending on who we're talking about. And the last one was inspiration, which I just think is that future piece of, okay, well, we got this far, well, what else is possible, what else can be done? And that's sort of looking forward to being even better and doing bigger and bigger things and exploring all the possibilities. So yeah, those are the 5. And like I said, yeah, they sort of stood the test of time and people really got on board with that.
And you mentioned you haven't really had to change them. Like everybody's still on board with it, or have you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. So
dug
we've
deeper into any of those with them?
Yeah, we've talked about them. You know, we do team alignment days and meetings, and we bring them back. And actually, we've got a little sort of award box going on. So if somebody's noticed that others have done something that really resonates with our values, then they
Notice
shout it
them.
out and they vote for them in the little box.
Oh, okay. And that's the team and staff, or is that just the team? Or
That's the team. That's the team. So,
okay,
so we've got how many? 6 of us at the moment. So we're 4 osteopaths, and then we have 2 ladies, you know, on the sort of support side. So either at the desk or at the marketing side and managing events and things like that. So
okay,
everyone works together, and yeah, it's. I think once it's been created, people come to you. So we've never had problems to recruit. I think osteopaths are, you know, there's not that many of us around, and therapists in general. I know it's always a challenge for clinics to recruit the right people. And I think just putting it out there and saying, well, this is what we're all about. And if you love that, give us a call. It's really worked. And we've got a beautiful team for it. You know, that they're all just brilliant people, and it works together because we agree.
yeah, okay, that's great. How do you talk about like patients? How do you ensure that your patients receive comprehensive care?
So I think it starts by that kind of really ingraining those values of connecting, and it actually starts by them walking through the door, and when they walk through the door, we want them to feel like guests in our home. So we've made the space lovely. There's loads of plants. There's always you know, a receptionist with a smile, and bless them, they are amazing at just having a chat with whoever's there, and just people just want to express themselves and talk about their day and say, you know, and just communicate and connect. I think a lot of people miss that connection if you're working from home and you're at a desk all day, or if you're perhaps living alone or just not seeing as many people as you used to. Then, you know, people really crave and miss that connection. And I think that's step number 1. And then just making sure that people are really heard. So we give them the time. We give them the time of day, and we're, you know, even if our fees reflect that time that we give people, that they want to be heard, and for someone to take the time to listen to them.
There's definitely a hospitality in it, right? I mean, when you
Yeah.
welcome somebody into your home, and you want, like you said, you want them to feel like they're at home, and whether it's like, can I get you a glass of water or something to drink,
Yeah,
and
yeah, or a
we
cup of
sit you
tea,
over
and
here,
yeah,
cup of tea, yeah. So,
yeah,
and
we see a lot of mums and dads, and we see some babies. So, you know, and we keep saying mum has to be offered a cup of tea or a coffee, you know, a strong
yeah,
coffee if she wants
strong
it,
coffee,
because you know, because being a mum myself, I know that just a nice cup of tea can be, it might be the only cup of
calming.
tea they have, or coffee they have that day or that week. You know, that's actually, you know, nice and hot. And or if there's someone bringing in a relative or a spouse, then they can sit around, they can have a chat and have a drink. And, you know, it's part of the experience, and that's the beauty of a service that is still brick and mortar. That's what separates us from, you know, all the other options where people just come in for a commodity or a, and that's even before you started obviously looking at the pain and the problem that they're here for you to solve. You know, this is where our expertise come in, and
Okay. What would you say, like, what are you doing to educate the public about your service and the unique advantages that come into?
good question. Well, I think there should be more education for osteopathies in particular. Like, I'm not going to go into it right now in terms of what we do versus what other sort of healthcare providers do, but there could be more out there for specifically for us. I think the biggest thing that we do that's maybe more unique is getting out there and just sort of seeing people and talking to people. So we have a calendar of events that we go to. So we will go and massage people after local sort of races, and we do that for charity. So we'll set up a tent, we get ourselves out there, we get our faces out there, we talk to people, and we might offer like a 10-minute massage for a donation to the charity that's running the event. So it's not a money maker for us, but it's more of a getting out there and showing the local people what we can do. So it's running events and being there in person. We do the kind of the Google ads and the website and the digital marketing as best we can. I think that's probably the more unique proposition that maybe not many or not all clinics would do, is actually to get out there and talk to people and kind of see them where they're at. So
It's nice to have
maybe
a face-to-face too, right? And it's your opportunity to educate them and be there to answer any questions. And
yeah.
they're not coming in the office where it's like they're there to see you for whatever reason, but it's like this being at the event is more curiosity. It's like, well, what's going on? What do you guys do? And that gives you an opportunity to say, these are all the things.
Yeah, and we've definitely had a lot of success with that, and going out to run clubs, golf clubs, where the people we want to treat are at, and speaking to people and answering questions and just sort of connecting. Yeah. And we've also reached out to a lot of local other practitioners, other therapists, consultants, just to collaborate with them and create some knowledge around what we can do for their patients, potentially how we can help. We've done some in-house events where we were just got a load of practitioners together. So movement therapists, psychotherapists, acupuncture, nutrition, Pilates, yoga, all those other people who look after our patients alongside us. And then they will have a better idea of what we can do for their people.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's a great way to be able to connect and see how you can help them and vice versa, and just putting a face to face, and just being able to start that partnership or potential partnership, and kind of figure out, like, if you're going to the same event, hopefully you're relatively close by, and keep in touch and refer patients kind of back and forth type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a busy clinic owner, maintaining a work-life balance and all these challenges, what are maybe some strategies that you could tell our audience to sort of have a balance between, if you call that, from your professional responsibilities and your personal life?
Gosh, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? That's the tough one. It's definitely better. I used to do all the hours and wear all the hats and do all the jobs. I think that is probably the biggest advantage when you grow a little, that you can actually afford to pay people to do what they're best at. So you don't have to be the accountant, the marketing manager, the cleaning lady,
Hats. Yeah.
everything else. I used to take the towels home to wash. Now there's a laundrette
Okay.
that does that. So it's identifying where your best time is spent and where you are most valuable, and spending your time doing that. And that includes stepping away from seeing patients, or at least stepping down your hours from being on the tools and doing the work. And that takes a mindset shift as well, but it's really valuable. And I had a moment only a few months ago where my osteopaths, who I am paying, were not busy, and I'm sitting there, I see patients until 6 p.m. and then I do my notes until 9, and it's madness. So, and it was only me that needed to shift that idea of, oh, well, they must see me because they all want to see me. Well, no, actually my associates are just as good, if not better, at looking after these patients than I would be, but I just need to trust that process and let go and go, okay, well, and not feel guilty for not being there treating a patient, but actually to say, well, I'm not treating this patient because I'm creating a clinic, which means I can treat 5 patients at the same time, not personally, but that we
Right.
can serve more people. But if
By
I can't
working like in the business, right? Or working on the business
on the
versus
business,
in it. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
so my clinic can serve more people if I actually serve less people, if that makes sense. If I actually manage my time so that I've stepped back, and also, avoiding burnout, because if you're doing all the hours and all the days, then you will literally just give up at some point. And then, who's going to look after any of those patients or team members, practitioners who might be working for you. So you've got to look after yourself, because everybody depends on you.
Yes, yes, you're the leader. Yes, wonderful. And you're there to fix all the problems, and so even
Well,
even
I'll
being
try.
able to have time for that, right? Just like I'm seeing patients, and then there's these other problems, and to be able to
Yes.
like step out of it if you are seeing a patient, and or if it can wait until you finish with the patient, and then you get to that,
Yeah.
you fix whatever that
Yes, and
is.
I'm still a bottleneck, even with sort of 10 hours of clinical work a week. I'm still a bottleneck where things need doing and I'm not available to do them because I've got to, you know,
See
treat
the patient.
patients or
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's a massive, and you have to sort of go down in order to go up again. You've got to go, okay, we might see a few less patients this month until that transition happens. But then that enables more in the long run.
Would you say that you're getting better at delegating or figuring out like if this is a task that someone else can do that will free up the time so you can focus more on the business?
Yes, 100%. And just letting go of stuff that, okay, I know it
You're
can
like
be
holding
done.
so tight too, right? You're like this
Yeah,
is my baby.
yeah, the newsletter, I'm like, well, it's been seen by all these, thousands of people, and it's got to be right. And I still want to read it before it goes out, but it means that it doesn't go out so often because,
It's waiting on you for the approval.
it's waiting on me, which might not be necessary, but that's just one of those things that I'm still holding on to.
Sure. Well, I mean, when
Yeah.
it's yours, it's like you do. It's like you want to be able to see everything, and one just even if it's kind of a quick check, right? It's like just quality check. Did you do spell check or something like that?
Yes.
It's so
Yeah,
important.
but it is important to let go and to delegate. And I think that's probably one of the biggest blocks in a business owner's progression or just time management, in that we do feel like we must control and oversee everything, and
Mm.
actually trusting that you have the right people doing their job. And people want to be trusted and empowered as well, don't they? So you're helping them as well as yourself by doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you can coach them and help them to understand what the importance of, and empower them, as you say, and kind of pass the baton, and just allow them some time on it, and even to come back with you and go and have them check, whatever that is that they're doing, that this was your baby and
Yeah.
now you're allowing them to do it. It's like, let me teach you. I love even just saying, if you can teach me back, then I know you got it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like teach you, show me, and then get them to teach you back. And it's like, okay, you got it.
That's it. Yeah. So it's a process until you know that you can let go of that, but it's worth.
Yeah, love it. Okay, well, great. I appreciate you sharing your insights, and tell people how they can connect with you.
So our clinic is called Meadowside Osteopathy. We're in Farnham, which is the Surrey-Hampshire border in the UK. Our work is done there. We've not gone global yet. There are some ideas of, perhaps sharing our insight to the big wide world. But at the moment, we're obviously doing our thing, doing osteopathy. Personally, I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to connect. So I'm on LinkedIn, and it's Ori Tuntley. So hopefully you can see my name in the title of the episode. And the clinic, Meadowside Osteopathy. We're on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So yeah, look us up. And if you're in the neighborhood, come for a cup of tea.
Right.